Okay. What's up, everybody? My name is Tyler Silva, and welcome to another episode of The Rundown with Silva. And my guest today is a good friend of mine. He lives in Colorado, and I got to meet him through some friends and family of mine about a year ago, and he's managed to be someone that stayed in my life, and we became really good friends. He used to, do some bartending before all this bullshit happened. He was pretty involved in the music scene up in Colorado. He's literally just one of my friends. Give it up for my boy, Rob.
Hey, how you doing?
What's up, man?
Hey.
Cheers, buddy.
Howdy. Cheers, man. Thanks for having me on here.
Dude, good to see you in town.
Oh, man, I love it. Everybody usually is like Arizona, LA, all those places. I like Arizona.
Yeah?
It's fun.
Do you guys get some pretty heavy-duty snow up there for a while?
Oh, dude. Well, and that's the thing, too, is that our town, it's so bipolar. Like, it's like one of those things where everybody pretty much, you'll have, like, snow for, 2 hours, and it'll be, really bad, 5 feet of snow, people are driving, people are crashing into sidewalks and everything like that. Then, 2 hours it melts. So it's
So you go through this weird slushy part for a while too, I'm sure.
Oh, it's so stupid. It's like every time the first rain happens, everybody forgets how to drive. No one knows what to do. Stores are starting to loot, all this stuff. No, I'm just kidding. But
I'm like, damn, Colorado's fucking intense.
It's just because there aren't too many a huge demographic of natives are either moved or left, but a lot of the people from California, Texas and stuff like that live there now. And so we have just an influx of people who just kind of really don't know what to do with cold weather.
Right.
And it's interesting to say the least, but it's man, it really kind of puts a damper in anybody's commute or anything like that. So
your family's out here and you're in Colorado, right?
Yeah.
Where are you originally from?
So I'm originally from Long Beach, California. I was born in Colorado Springs, but we moved out there way earlier in my life. And my mom, she and I lived out in basically the outskirts of Long Beach, kind of close to where Compton is almost.
Okay.
And so with that being said, we were just my mom couldn't really afford to live out there. And so we moved back to Colorado real quick. A lot of my family has been based out of Colorado for the longest time.
Oh, really? So that's the real stomping grounds then.
Yeah, it really is. I've lived there for, pretty much my whole life, 90% of it.
Nice.
So I will say I am a Colorado native.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
definitely your home.
Yeah. No, it's just my parents and my sister that live out here now.
Okay.
So
what brought them out here? Just
well, originally they were kind of doing this thing where they were going to move back to California and just kind of start something that they wanted to do since they were about to. My sister went off to college. She actually went to GCU out here. And I've been out of the house for already 6 years or something like that. And they did that, but then California didn't really work out for them, so they moved back out here with my dad's sister for a little bit, and then they just kind of stayed out here now.
Yeah.
So.
Dude, so Colorado's your stomping grounds, and the last few times that you've been out here and just hung out, we were drunk as fuck the other night.
Yeah.
What was that, last night?
It was two nights. Yeah,
2 nights ago? Yeah, 2 nights ago. That's
Yeah.
right. We took Monday off. We definitely took
Right.
Monday off, especially after the weekend of podcasts that I had. But you've been out here or out in Colorado for a while. Because I love that you're a bartender too. I think you guys are the most interesting people to talk to. I get to talk to a lot of musicians, and I recently just had another bartender on and realized how much she had to offer and just say, and for me to learn and whatnot. But especially you being out of state. What is the bar scene kind of like? Because you were in Colorado Springs, right? So you have a lot of cool looking bars, or
yes, there are a lot of bars that have been there for ever since at least I was a kid. There are those home bars kind of thing, but then there are a lot of new ones that have come in since I don't know, it's the last 5 years, I would say.
Yeah,
which it's insane to think about too, because a lot of these places. They started right before the pandemic happened. And you would think that they didn't thrive, but a lot of like the newer ones that have been, established, like they're the ones that are starting to get like a lot more traction now.
Yeah.
And I guess like I don't know, the business model out there is just it's crazy because there's like downtown itself, like one person owns like a good percentage of bars downtown. And yeah, like one of your cousin works for one, and I've always wanted to work for one of them too because he's such a good owner of all of his businesses. But yeah, it's been a ride, like for seeing how many bars have grown and how many haven't, unfortunately.
Yeah. And growth is like a really weird thing right now. It's extremely hard to grow. Arizona, we've lifted our mandatory mask mandate and gone back to full capacity, and
that's which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Well, like in Colorado, like everybody, it's a moral thing. Not only like the business owners and like the managers are strictly enforcing the masks still,
which you still can here too as a business.
Yeah. But like also it's with the people. Like people just feel more comfortable out and like when everybody's wearing a mask.
Why do you think that is? Like, I mean, do you think it's like policy state to state? I mean, Colorado and Arizona. I think you're good. I think those are two like pretty good examples because like California is fucking wild right now, and a few other parts of this country are
like Austin, Texas is doing whatever they're doing.
Yeah, Austin, Texas seems to be kind of killing it right now, to be honest. But like, do you think it's like a policy thing? Do you think this is like a social thing for like you guys in Colorado being so different?
In Colorado, I think it's a social thing because not any of us were expecting to have like a stricter rule as like you have to wear a mask.
Right.
But everybody is so scared to get it that I don't know. I think Colorado is full of a decent amount of people that like morally don't want to put anybody at risk.
Of course not.
And they don't want to be at risk themselves. I think either it's one or the other. I don't think it's both. I'm personally one of those people that's like, I don't want to put anybody at risk.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people who are just like, you know what, like, if that thing's going to take away as much percentage as possible to getting the to getting the virus, then I'm going to do it because people are very already precautionary out in Colorado anyway.
Of course. And like out here, because we're super different right now, and a lot of places have lifted their mandates, even businesses and a couple venues and whatnot. Yeah. And I think I keep mine on me all the time, but like once it starts getting like crowded around like some people like maybe I don't know too much, I'm like, I'm just gonna throw this bitch on for a little bit and go walk and have a cigarette. I mean, it's so weird because I'm definitely comfortable around like some people I know and things like that. But like if I were to be in maybe like a group of like 100 plus people or something like that, I might think a little differently or like keep like some distance. Or Austin and I went to a St. Patty's Day celebration at Tim Finnegan's not too far from here, and it was an awesome time. It was packed, but like we realized that we were in the corner, definitely distancing ourselves and kind of just watching people. It just felt good to see like people again.
And that's awesome.
Yeah, it felt really good. What was the music scene like? Because you did some music, right?
A little bit,
in like previous years and whatnot.
Yeah.
What were you really into? Because I got to hear some of your music last night.
So I don't know. I've always grown up like a heavy metal kid. Like I always like my parents used to be like super Christian, so it'd be kind of like few and far between of what I thought I was allowed, quote unquote, to listen to. So I mean, obviously, like I think like my intro. My dad always that's the thing. My dad he always played Metallica for me since I was like 2 years old, and like I'm just headbanging in the car seat and stuff like that. So, but like my actual introduction into heavy metal was like Slipknot.
Really?
Yeah, like, but they were so weird. Like they wore the masks, so I always thought it was like kind of like, ooh, demonic kind of thing going on. So I was always like, ooh, this is kind of cool. But their music is so good, it scares me, and I'm like, I'm gonna still listen to it though. But then when it came to my parents though, I'd be like, yeah, can I like buy some of these band T-shirts, and they'd be like, "Well, none of these ones because they're like kind of demonic, kind of looking."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Okay, well, there's this Under Oath hoodie at Hot Topic. It looks creepy, but the band's a Christian band." And they're like, "Yeah, you can get that then." I'm like, "Okay."
So weird, because like I totally can feel you on this, and I'm sure you know my cousin, and we could each, me and her could talk about this forever.
Yeah.
But we grew up in churches. Our grandfather was a pastor, and all of a sudden one day, like at this certain age, I was just like, I don't think a whole lot of this makes sense. And then my parents were kind of like, yeah. And like, they didn't say it out loud.
No.
They didn't say it out loud at all.
Not.
They were
No.
like, they didn't say any of that. They were like, well, if you don't want to go. And then eventually we just all stopped like going to church and stuff like that. We were heavily involved.
Yeah.
And it's super crazy to think about, but I remember being on on one of these like youth group little trips or something,
Yeah.
and we stopped by Target, and a few people were grabbing out like some CDs and stuff, and I grabbed a Slayer album and I grabbed a Hymn album, and they both had
love
like
it.
the pentagram and like the
Yeah.
heartagram, because that was so cool at my age, because Viva La Bam was on TV at
yeah.
the time. I was like, I don't know, 12
You got
or
Viva La
something like
Bam,
that.
and then you got all these dudes on MTV on the metal channel, like wearing Slayer shit.
Yeah, and I was a pastor's grandfather.
Oh
Like,
I get it, because I'm a pastor's kid, because like,
oh shit.
like they were involved with the church, but then like the head of the church guy was like, "Oh, hey, so my dad's name is Jay," and they're like, "Jay, like you seem to have a really good mind for leadership. Let us just throw you like a part of this congregation and see what you do with it." Like, so they would have like Bible studies every Wednesday at my house, and then that turned into this thing called Grassroots that my dad was a part of, and he would he basically was ordained as a pastor in non-denominational church, and he basically was like, "Okay, cool, I'm gonna just start my own church." And then that was like when I was like sort of like 17, 18.
Okay, so that happened to me like way younger with my
Really?
grandfather. Oh yeah, so like when I was growing up, my grandfather was starting churches and like all sorts of stuff in Central California. Like I was raised in that shit for sure.
Gee,
And it's
super fun.
Yeah, super fun. It was really cool to my grandfather though. Like eventually, like left the congregation and like all of that stuff. He was like, Jesus, like this is like they make it all about the money, and like the congregation didn't like the way he was just talking all of a sudden about how it was more community and not like so
Really?
much. Oh yeah, and that should be really the landmark where we started like not going to church anymore as like a
That's
family and
crazy.
stuff. And then he
That's-
started writing blogs about it, and like he's a very spiritual person and like definitely has his beliefs, but I think and I'm gonna have him on here. He has his own YouTube channel and wrote
Right.
so many things. He's an amazing writer and
That's awesome.
is
Love that.
extremely smart. But he was writing about just how corrupt church systems were, and I was like, that's so punk rock of you. Like, even though like you know,
Yeah.
like believe what you want to believe. I think Christianity is good for a lot of people.
Yeah.
You see drug addicts believe in like Christianity and get their lives clean and start
Absolutely.
crazy
I think
businesses. Like,
For me, I guess I'm not going to go too much in religion, but like I think
no, I'm not going to go into
Yeah.
it either. I choose not to believe or whatever.
Right.
I think a lot of religion is, people just want answers without questioning things. And
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that. Live out your life. You're like, this is the answer. Like, I'm going to live a good life. Okay, good for you. Like,
Yeah.
I have more questions than that.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Yeah, for me, it's just I think it's like if you find something within your heart that's awesome and you enjoy it, then pursue it. But like if as long as it doesn't mean to be toxic towards other people or toxic towards yourself.
Yeah, of course.
I think that's something that I've realized at a pretty coming into age kind of area in my life.
Well, when any religion destroys a community or,
Yeah.
eventually that shit will become a cult. Like, it's wild, but
Yeah.
like that's so true. And I can't. I'm kind of obsessed with cults lately. I shouldn't say that, but it's starting. Like,
Dude, that's the thing. I've always really liked. I've always dabbled in cult stuff
I'm
just
just
because
always so curious because like these people, I can't believe how many people will like follow the craziest shit. CJ, will you look this thing up? It was on Vice, and it was this crazy drunk lady that believes she was like the daughter of God. I don't really know what she would like Google on that, but I definitely found it on YouTube one time, and it was crazy.
I love that kind of shit.
Dude, she was like this crazy alcoholic,
Yeah.
and like had all these people following her. Like, it was insane, and I was like, how
That's
do you guys
insane.
believe that she was like mentally unstable? There she is, dude. She just gets drunk, and like those are the people that follow her too.
Oh my God.
There's like a whole bunch of people, and she is absolutely unstable. She makes all these crazy videos, and like all
she's
these.
she's super. She does a lot of Instagram posts.
Have you
doesn't she?
seen her?
I've heard of her. I haven't seen any of this stuff because I sometimes like when I
CJ,
dabble.
can you pull her name and do just a little bit of research and like maybe give us some reading on this? But anyways, Rob, like that shit is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So people are so easily influenced, and
Oh, yeah.
I think it happens in the media so much.
Well, and that's the thing too is that like they're either influenced or people are so easily manipulated. That's like it's kind of the fine line between like a religion and a cult. I feel like is like if you do this out of the good of your heart to teach people like something that you believe is right, that's cool. But then once you get people blindly following whatever you say,
Like a drunk lady about whatever you say.
Like the Jim Jones effect, basically, just like really, really nice, really personable. But the thing is that they have something in them that they want to manipulate out of that. Like it's like like the Jones effect is basically just like where Jim Jones influenced a bunch of people to just leave everything they knew behind and start this whole different community with their own government, with all this stuff. And then at one point he went as far as to convincing people to kill themselves, which is insane. Like that's like the darkest side of it.
Yeah, you got something on that chick, CJ?
I think I found it.
Okay,
Word.
please give us some knowledge here. I'm so curious.
So Amy Carlson is her name. The group is Love Has Won. And then it says like the web savvy new age outfit uses daily live streams to recruit followers from around the world to join their house in Colorado. So while her followers believe she is a divine being, the group is facing accusations that it is a cult. Former members are alleging stories of abuse, fraud, and brainwashing.
Jesus Christ, bro.
What part of Colorado are they from?
Yeah, look at Rob's on his phone right now. Like I gotta figure this out. Does it say that?
It's, the article, yeah, it's like a Denver Post article that I just pulled up. But yeah, what was it, CJ?
Oh, I don't know right now. I have to look more into it. But I'll see what I can find.
Yeah. Let me know if you find anything. But dude, like the cult thing has just been so interesting to me lately about.
Yeah.
Because it's the craziest ideas. All of a sudden, like you believe in this guy so much, and he's sleeping with your wife every other weekend because it's the way.
Because and you have to just let him because he's the leader. Like that's what what's his name, Dave Kaczynski did, or is it? No, not Ted Kaczynski. It's David Koresh. That's what it was. David Koresh in the Waco, like that Waco cult that basically like it ended in like a whole SWAT firefight.
Yes.
Yeah, Waco, Texas. That's like the biggest one where it's like, yeah. But yeah, David Koresh was one of those people that like he slept with people's wives and stuff like that. But like this is always a question that I like to ask people just like philosophically is that if you knew that you had like an influence over people like that, like what would you do, I guess?
Well, it's so crazy. As a podcaster, and we all have our heroes, whether you be a comedian, a musician, anybody, and obviously the godfather of podcasting is Joe Rogan. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about
Absolutely.
it. And I think, when you look at someone who has that much power, well, an influence.
Yeah.
That's a really good way of looking at it. I think Joe Rogan does an amazing job.
Absolutely.
He gets so many sides of the stories, and he tries to stay sharp for the people that he knows are powerful or important, anything. And I think he's a prime example of what you do with influence. And you get all sides of stories. He's like, oh, well, I'm wrong here. Like, I'm wrong. He's not afraid to be wrong. He's not married to his ideas. I'm probably drifting away from the question, but as far as being like a leader of anything like that, like that's, or an influencer, having such a strong influence, it is a huge amount of power.
Absolutely.
And it's always too about like who gets a hold of that power, right?
It's like,
so like YouTube had a hold of that power for a minute, right?
Yeah.
And iTunes had a hold of that power, but now only Spotify does. And I think it's more weird of like who, like how they reach people.
Yeah.
That's absolutely bizarre. Joe Rogan earned every bit of it and did it extremely well because he's a good fucking person.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, it's like from watching these cult videos, like those aren't exactly the best fucking people to have that much reach.
No.
You know? It's bizarre.
Which is why you think like what if like think about it this way too, is like, do you know any cult leaders that actually have a podcast? Like,
oh, please don't put that out there.
I don't want to. No, never mind. Absolve all of that like negative energy, but like still like.
Okay, what's her name again, CJ?
Amy Carlson.
Carlson or Carlton? Dude, you just got to read this.
Okay, can you zoom? Like, give me a super zoom a little bit. The control scroll or whatever. A little bit more.
That's their actual
Okay.
website.
There we go. Here we go. For quite some time. Okay, so this is Hello Loves, I Am Mother God. And this says love has won. So for quite some time, you had been praying that I come back to help you. Because of that, I decided I had enough of the dark forces kidnapping my planet and my children. So here I am in the flesh. I was born on November 30th, 1975, which means she's like my fucking mom's age.
Yeah.
In Kansas, USA. This is my 534th reincarnation in my quest to recover my beloved planet, the center of the universe. And the first planet I created, they tried to assassinate me 589 times this lifetime. But love has won. I love you. I've done my part, and now you have to get a move on because you wasted eons thinking you had a life under the manipulation of the cabal?
Cabal.
What is that?
It's basically the establishment.
Okay, so I'm just going to say of the establishment who used you like cattle. The move, get a move on because this planet is ascending and you need to reconnect with Prime Source Creator, me. Exclamation point.
Just like highlighted. Prime
Dude, I
Source
want
Creator.
This needs. We need to copy and paste this and put this for my podcast description.
Prime Source Creator.
Okay.
That's gonna be your label from now on.
Why not?
Love that.
Okay, so that you can ignite your light bodies and can protect you again. That's so weird. You are either with me or against me. Holy shit.
Jesus.
The experiment of free will has been declared a failure. It's a void. Everything exists under divine will once more. Thank God, LOL.
Lol.
Dude.
Get a move on.
Can we give it up for this crazy ass bitch right here? This is insane, dude. And maybe I shouldn't say bitch. That's kind of sexist.
So honestly,
I'm gonna say asshole. Asshole's a universal term, right? Okay, there we go.
So
sorry, ladies.
She kind of had me. I was like, oh well, like honestly, like she's trying to get away from, the doctrine and like the original like everything of Christianity or whatever she's a part of, like whatever sect of it. But then she says, if you're not with me, you're against me. And I know from watching as much fucking Star Wars as I have that only a Sith deals in absolutes. And you cannot tell me something like that and have me believe that you are genuinely a good person.
Arise, young Colorado Springs.
Oh, man. If she's in the Springs, I got to meet her. Like,
Yeah.
I will set that up.
Does it say what part of Colorado she's in?
I'll keep on looking for that.
Keep
That's
looking.
like the hardest
I'm sorry.
piece of
I'm
information.
absolutely like invested.
Yeah,
Dude, could you do me a favor? Could you tell audience about like a little bit of how you and I met because you came out here on my birthday.
Oh
weekend.
yeah, I'll tell that
Yeah,
story.
do that real
It's
quick.
great.
I got to take a piss. We're starting on pee breaks, but I think this is a really good story.
good.
I already know.
This is great. All right, so story time. I've always wanted to say that. I don't know why, just because YouTube influencers crack me up. So basically, one of my really good friends, Jacob, who lives out in Colorado Springs, he was like, "Hey, so they're actually doing like he introduced. So before that, he introduced me to electronic dance music, basically, and a lot of really good artists have come my way." Also, I've been under the influence of extracurriculars. Sorry, but a lot of the music has definitely like been like really good. Like I've really liked it a lot, and he definitely showed me a really good path on that. So he was like, "Hey, like there's this festival going on in Arizona, and do you want to go?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'd love to." He's like, "All right, well, I'll set up the Airbnb and I'll get the tickets. Just Venmo me." And I paid him, and I was like, "Hey, I'll just drive." So I got off work like at like 7:00. Everybody else got off around like 8 or 9. So we just drove through the night out here, and Tyler's cousin Tori, she went with us obviously because that's Jacob's girlfriend, and so we went and we met him first. That was the first thing that we did. She was like, "Yeah, we should go see my cousin before we go to the Airbnb." I was like, "All right, yeah, let's do it." So I meet this dude, and like we're just talking about just bullshitting, just talking about like whatever. And this dude turns out to be like the coolest dude ever. I'm just like, "Oh yeah, I definitely vibe with him. Like this is awesome." And it's the week of his birthday, so we're like, "Cool, like we're gonna go to the Airbnb. We're gonna hang out there. Then we're gonna go to this show. That's the same night. We go to the show. The next day we just hang out. Then it comes Tyler's birthday, and we go to this place called the Tempe Tavern. Now, if
Shout out Tempe Tavern. Which is
shout out to Tempe Tavern. That place is fucking cool. I don't know. Can I cuss on here?
Absolutely. You can say whatever you want on
I've
here,
done
bro.
it a lot.
Yeah.
It's like it's too late now. But so I was like, dude, Tempe Tavern is like one of my favorite bars out here now, other than headquarters. We met you at headquarters first.
Yeah, which is crazy. So, like in Arizona, those are on two opposite sides of the world. One's in Tempe and one's in Glendale.
Yeah.
Tempe Tavern being in Tempe, and headquarters being in Glendale.
Yeah.
But I think what really, you're a bartender, but what makes the place is, the people there.
Yeah. Well, and that for that or the experience you have, like a lot of Colorado bars kind of miss out on the fact of like, yeah, this is a cool bar. This is like, they make really good drinks, but some of it's kind of inclusive towards like only bartenders or like, on a kind of like drink connoisseurs or mixologists.
Dude, so I want to talk to you about that.
Sure.
Jesus. So my cousin, and this is like a big culture up there, is this bartender culture.
Yeah.
Now, I don't go to a lot of high-end bars out here, but I'll tell you right now, my favorite bartenders are always at my favorite shows, which, shout out to fucking Lola. She was just here with us. I think this is maybe 2 weeks ago now on this episode.
Oh, yeah, Lolo.
Yeah, dude, she is the fucking best. She's dude, her clothing company made me this shirt. This is their shout out.
Bodacious?
Shout out Bodacious Prince.
Love that.
Shout the fuck out. But from what I heard from my cousin and you, and I know that there is this like, I don't want to say like underground, but there's this like kind of other feel to other bartenders. I have these bartenders at venues that kill it. They make your favorite fucking drink. They'll get you your favorite fucking beer right away. They can tell you about everything that the band is on that's playing. But there's this other little class of bartenders that are these very like connoisseur like, right?
Yeah.
What is that like? I'm confused.
So in Colorado Springs, where I'm from, I guess I don't really get out that much to the point where I know like every single bartender, but I know that the downtown scene for bartenders, because there's only really like one actual music venue in Colorado Springs, and it's called the Black Sheep.
Which shout out Authority Zero, they've played there a handful
Yes.
of times
Yep.
too. I love those guys.
Great venue.
Oh,
Great
great
venue.
guys.
But yeah, Authority Zero, awesome band. I love them too. But yeah, what was it? But yeah, so like the bar scene downtown, it's comprised of a lot of people who have either worked at certain bars up to a point where they actually are really good now, and then they just kind of move to a different bar, or a new bar opens up and you get a bunch of groups of different bartenders that have worked in the same community that work at this new bar or something like that. So right now we have this thing. I don't know if you guys have it at all, but if you guys do, I definitely want to like check it out. This thing called Kawadi. It's Kawadi Uprise is what it's called. It's basically like a
CJ, can you pull up another tab and see what this Kawadi Uprise is?
COATI Uprise.
COATI, huh? Okay.
Yeah,
Let him look
Kawadi.
that up
But-
for a minute.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
give
cool.
me a
They're
second.
basically like a mall, but like just with restaurants and bars.
Oh.
So they have shout out to Slowdown's Texas Creole, Soto, love you, man. They have his place. It's like a Creole barbecue joint. It's so good.
What kind of barbecue?
Like Creole, like
Creole.
yeah, like Southern style Texas barbecue, basically.
What's this right here? Oh, so this is
Oh yeah.
Okay, so this is a bar.
So it's basically a composition of bars. Like they have like a sandwich shop, a fine dining restaurant.
I know when you're turning, it's super tough. I
They
try
all-
talking to that mic a little bit. when
They
you-
all call them pods, basically.
Okay.
So it's just certain pods, but they're all different businesses. These guys like they made this place out of just like an empty building, and it was so cool. Like Luke Al's, they have a brewery in there. I think it's Pikes Peak. Correct me if I'm wrong, or well, the audience will correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's that, and then like 2 bars in there, and then two like couple different restaurants. It's super cool though. It's a big compound though.
Okay, so you guys, it's so crazy how opposite we are. And I'm not saying, maybe Austin would agree with me. Austin, behind the board over here, him and his fiance have a photography and filming business. And
Oh, that's so
they-
cool.
dude, they're some of the fucking best out here. And, between bands and weddings and all sorts of shit that they fucking do.
Yeah.
They get to see a lot of the city. And Austin, I know you don't have a mic behind you, and I'm just going to repeat kind of whatever you're saying relatively, but do we have kind of anything like that? And what I've noticed too is just from what he's telling me, at least you being in the Springs, correct?
Yeah.
But we have a way bigger venue culture out here. Like, would you agree to that at all, Austin?
Yeah, we have more venues and stuff like that. I know that Prescott, just up the way, has something like that.
Yeah.
It's like a compound of shops and stores.
That's cool.
There's one big main restaurant at the bottom,
Okay.
but then they have levels of different shops and
I love that,
artists.
though.
People have like their paintings and stuff. They sell them out of there, stuff like that. But I don't think there's anything here in the city like a Phoenix.
Yeah, nothing out. Yeah, there. I can think of one spot, and I can't remember the name of it, but it's off of Roosevelt, right next to the fucking light rail. And I've gone over there and gotten some pretty good food and whatnot, and they do all sorts of shit there. They'll do little events for boutiques, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of shit going on in there. But like we have a pretty fucking strong venue culture. It seems.
I love
like
that.
here. Yeah, it's really cool. Like I could seriously name you like probably fucking 10 places you could play if you were even just in starting.
Yeah.
Right now,
It's awesome.
it's really cool. Being in punk rock, I can just say our punk rock scene has done nothing but fucking grow. Do you have any sort of like music scene that's like really big up from like where you're from?
Not as much anymore, just because like everything kind of shut down because we only have
Everything.
that one venue.
Yeah.
And so most bands were just like, all right, well, we're just gonna record music most of the time. And
There's a lot
so
of
a lot
good
of people
content.
a lot of people are starting to kind of push out their albums now, which they kind of timed it out really perfectly because I think they're gonna start doing shows around the summertime, I want to say. Like they want to do it like May. I'm not sure. I'm not really in the know anymore, but like a lot of bands did release a lot of things, and I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." Like it doesn't even matter what style of band it was. Like I've seen like rappers come out with like a bunch of new like mixtapes and stuff like that, or hardcore bands coming out with demos and certain things like that. But it's definitely been like it was definitely a real kick in the nards like when it came to the pandemic.
Of course.
Like
it was
just
to
bands,
all of us.
yeah, bands were a lot of and that's the thing is that like Colorado Springs doesn't really have too many bands that like like go like
The extra mile or like
no
the
like
distance?
go like nationally tour for like a long time. There are a few, but they're not as many as like you would have in like Phoenix or LA or something like that. So those career touring bands definitely like the ones that did get hit got hit, and they were like, oh, I gotta start working again, and I gotta start either get a job or I'm just gonna have to live on unemployment until this blows over. But yeah, they're like, I don't know. I heard about like, I always look at, I'm on TikTok a lot. Like I'm just like binging on it just cause I'm bored. And,
Of course.
the vocalist of this band called Counterparts, they're a Canadian hardcore band.
Check that shit out, CJ.
Yeah. Yeah. Counterparts is the shit.
Okay. Keep going.
But they tour, all the time. They tour like a lot of places, and they're a solid touring band. They're actually really tight live, really good. But Brennan, the vocalist, I've seen his TikTok where he's just like, yeah, so like I'm collecting unemployment, but that's all he's really doing.
CJ, do me a favor. I want you to check those guys out on Facebook. But what kind of band are we looking at right here?
It's a melodic metalcore band. kind of
Okay,
thing
dope.
Going on. Yeah, they got the real nice emotional sounds, but like also really really good breakdowns. Really tight, very tight musically. Like all the
Yeah.
members know what they're doing with their instruments.
Which is a huge deal
Yeah.
just in any music, I guess. You
Yeah.
know, maybe a little bit different in punk. I mean, I play in punk rock bands and things like that. And I'll tell you right now, I'm the drunkest motherfucker up there.
Yeah.
And I got two guys behind me that are extremely fucking tight when I'm playing in Rundown
Hell yeah.
Roommates. And I can kind of fuck off a little bit. But, as far as those like metalcore bands or even pop punk bands, things like that, I think one thing about those bands is, don't be afraid to go under like production. I feel like you can always overproduce that music.
That's true.
And
You got to make it sound as like you're basically hearing it live.
yes, maybe a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like maybe.
I mean, obviously it's going to sound a little bit better than that, but
Of course, like maybe to like an extent, but there's nothing wrong with being that tight, if
Yeah.
you ask me. Did you find the band on Facebook? I want to see their Facebook page a little bit, because I almost feel like I've heard the band name before. And
they're big. Like they're based out of. So Brennan is basically like the most original member out of all of them. Like he is Counterparts, but because he's gone through so many member changes, he doesn't want to stop. Like that's his baby. Like
yeah, if you can't
But-
find anything, CJ, don't worry about it. But let us know if you do. All right, is that it right there? Does it say Counterparts?
Yep.
Click
Yeah,
on that. Oh, there we go.
that's it.
Click on that bitch.
yeah, they're cool.
Their artwork is pretty fucking dope.
Oh.
Oh, look at that vinyl. Hey, click on those vinyl pictures. That's sick
Yeah,
as fuck.
so that's their most recent album, and they came out with that I think like 2 years ago, and they came up with the B-sides with that album too. But that was last year.
Dude, look at all of
then,
those
yeah.
designs. Now, Austin and his lady get down on fucking vinyls. Like, he definitely does. So I know he might be geeking out a little bit. But, dude, look at those. Especially that bottom row right there. Look at that clear one in the fucking...
Yeah,
that one
that
is
transparent
sick
one.
as
Yeah,
fuck,
that one's
bro.
sweet.
That one's so dope. I love that. Thank you, CJ. Fucking A.
Yeah, I love me a good vinyl too. Like my dad actually, so my biological father, he left me behind like a lot of stuff before he died, like a lot of like crazy little like things that I knew that I was like a lot like him.
Well, like what?
So like, it's funny. My grandma, she was like, "Yeah, so do you want to sift through a couple of these CDs?" Like it was when I was still listening to like a nice, like a little like CD player. And so I sifted through all these CDs and I was like, yeah, cool. I'll grab this. I grab, he had like a Beatles one. He had an old Mozart one that I was just like, oh, okay, I'll just grab it just to have it. And then there was a Peter Frampton CD that I got. And it's a funny story about it. When I was 16, I brought it home so I could listen to it on my computer. And I open up the case, and it's Metallica's Master of Puppets inside. It's not even a Peter Frampton. I'm like, Peter, my dad used to do the shit that I did, like hiding music from me, like hiding music from my mom, like just shit that I knew she wouldn't like. Like, so like one time I put him like that My Chemical Romance 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge in what was it? It was a Mercy Me album slot, and I was like, so I used to do that same shit because my mom just like, you know, obviously if it has that little explicit thing on it, like she's not gonna like it. So Metallica had the same thing on their Master of Puppets album, so he hid it. I'm like, that's really smart. Like, good for you.
Were you close with your biological father? Or?
I wasn't. He died before I was born, unfortunately.
Okay, because I mean, my situation is extremely different. But I only met my biological father maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Really, for the first time. I met him once when I was like anywhere from like 5 to 7 years old, somewhere around there. But
damn.
Yeah, which whatever.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, my mom is just the strongest person ever and made sure she could raise the best kids she could.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, my brother, is in the Navy and my sister is fucking in the medical field. And guess what? Her oldest son, he did the best thing ever he could do. He smokes pot and plays guitars.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what he does.
Yeah, that's the best thing ever.
He brings his friends in for podcasts and is like, you're going to be famous.
Yeah, you run the rundown with Silva.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers,
fucking
man.
A. It really means a lot for you, like, coming out here.
Dude, I freaking love this, man. I was actually really nervous, like, coming on here because, I don't really talk about music too much just because I've been kind of out of doing music lately.
Yeah. Well, I didn't just want to start this for music. The good thing is I know a lot of people that are in music.
Yeah.
And the bad thing is that, like, a lot of people haven't just had conversations with each other for the longest time.
It's true.
And I was having the dopest fucking conversations in the parking lot of a venue with some of the coolest people I ever met.
That's true. I love those.
I wanted these conversations to start getting across to other people, whether you be an inspired musician, whether you be an inspired writer, whether you be someone that wants to make fucking t-shirts. I don't know, but I just know way too many awesome people to not have these conversations at least be shared with others, because the conversations I get to have, first of all, I don't always fucking remember.
Yeah.
And second of all these people are much smarter than me.
It's true.
You know what I mean? You're pretty much almost there. You're pretty much almost there.
No, I was just kidding. No, you're a smart dude, man. You're very intelligent.
I get away with it. Let's go with that.
I feel that though.
Yeah, but I like what people have to say, and I think especially aside from the pandemic, politically this last year, I think people stopped believing in people, no matter what side you were on.
I don't know. I just think we all started not really being good to each other anymore.
Absolutely. At one point, like, everyone just wanted to be fucking mean.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, when I would play, because I played a handful of shows now with Authority Zero.
Yeah.
And I just have to tell you, like, for us being a band that has only been in the work, my band Rundown Roommates, that has only been in the works for, maybe 5 or 6 years now. And when we played these shows, it was, years before then. And the fact that those guys are so fucking kind and we're like, you guys are going to do awesome.
Yeah.
Like, that is I can't even describe it, but like, it takes all the hate away, and you just want to do that for like the next person. Like, if you headline a show, be like, dude, you guys are gonna be great to the fucking opener, or maybe only 3 or 4 people show up because you have to go on at 7:30. We played those fucking shows.
Dude, those shows are honestly like where you find like your friends almost.
Oh, absolutely.
I remember one of our first shows is like, I was in this band called Alcaeus. We were this melodic hardcore band. I was 19 when I was in it. I'm 27 now. And, best friends. They're like the coolest dudes I've ever met in my entire life. Like, I love each and every one of those members of that band still to this day, we might not talk anymore or anything like that, but I genuinely, I always hope that they're doing well. But one of our first shows was in Denver. So there's this place they play a lot of raves at. It's called the Church Nightclub.
That sounds pretty fucking
Yeah,
sick.
it's actually an old church that they basically made two different stages for. And we played obviously the small stage downstairs, but the thing is that the dude who was booking the show, he was kind of a shiesty dude, but like he was like,
Heard that before.
yeah. So he was like, yeah. So all these bands are playing. Like there were like 7 bands on a bill that started at 4 in the afternoon. You guys are gonna go on at midnight was what it was. I was like, wait, what? Like, yeah, you guys will play at midnight. I'm like, cool. So I drank a bunch of 5 Hour Energy, and we walked around 16th Street Mall in Denver. And all we did was just, dick around like for hours. And then midnight comes up, and we're like, yeah, we're going to play the show. I'm pumped. I literally I'm like during our last song, I broke strings. Like I
break
like
so
I
many
was like
strings.
punching my head, just stuff like that. Like I was throwing my guitar around. Like there were only 2 people in that venue that were in the audience that weren't a part of like the bands, that weren't a part of like the bar staff or the security. It was just 2 dudes, and I remember I don't remember his name, but
Shout out to him.
Shout out to my dude. He's from Fort Collins. Man, I think it's just because of the alcohol, but I just can't remember his name right now.
Don't even worry about it.
Because I remember his face though, and like I just remember him like actually like him literally just like throwing arms and like swinging just because he's like loving the music. And then we were friends with him for a while then after that, because like I don't know, like I've played those shitty shows, and they're not shitty at that point.
No, absolutely not.
You're like, oh, cool, it's good practice.
Of course. I think no matter what you do, everything is worth playing. I mean, maybe that's not true. I take that back. Because if you hear that, like, hey, you're going to play to your fucking grandma tonight because no one told anyone about this show,
Yeah.
that kind of sucks. I would honestly rather just be like, hey, let's all go to mom's house and barbecue. And
Yeah, I
I'll
was
play
gonna
for
say
your grandma.
my
Yeah.
grandma's not gonna get it, so let's just
Well,
go.
dude, one of the first shows that my band played, and I just want to give a huge. This is not because we're a good band. This is because we have amazing, amazing people behind us.
That's awesome.
That's all I can say. Rundown Roommates, are we a good band? Not really.
You guys are good. I like you guys.
Well, thank you. At least we're good. And people came out to our first show like we were great, and that meant the world to us. We had packed this venue that could only fit like 30 people with like 50.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, within a couple months' time, we just kept playing these little shows, and we got offered to play this showcase at the Marquee Theater, which out here is a big deal to a lot of us. It's where you see No Effects, The Offspring. It's where you
see the big names in
Big
punk
D and the
music.
Kids Table. You see everybody there.
Nice.
You'll see fucking like I've also seen like the Dirty Heads there on their first headlining tour.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah.
That's funny because there's a Marquee Theater out in Denver.
I wonder if there's any relation. I'm not gonna act like there is.
Is it Marquee like MARQUEE?
Yeah, I don't know if those are related.
No, because ours is MARQUIS.
Absolutely not then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just everybody has like, yeah, because there's a Roxy in Denver, and then a Roxy Theater in Denver. Then there's also a Roxy Theater in LA. So it's like,
Yeah.
I always think of like, oh, are those related? No, they're never related because
Dude.
Roxy in Denver is like a juggalo venue.
So
awesome.
all of a sudden we get these fucking we get this offer like, hey, it's a showcase, and what we want to do is we're gonna take these local acts and they are going to basically like kind of compete to get on this big show, and it was No Effects and Flog and Molly for St. Patty's Day.
Ooh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
The timing's perfect. That's amazing.
Absolutely, right? Like I was like, "Oh my god, like I can't even believe we're able to be on this."
Yeah.
I'm like, "What do we have to do?" And they're like, "You have to like sell these tickets and not fucking suck." And I was like, "Okay, we can probably knock out at least one of these. So, which one should we do?" I'm like, "Well, we're probably going to suck. How many tickets can we fucking sell?" So, we sold almost 300. And
That's amazing.
yeah, in which
That's way more than a local band can do, in certain places.
dude, which like this is just another thing too is like the magic of my band Rundown Roommates is not us, because all we do is write about conversations like this.
Yeah.
And moments like this. Like we write about things like this that involve a whole fuck ton of other people that make shit happen.
I was gonna say your music, like you showed it to me when we got here, like it's almost been a year since we've hung out.
Almost,
so,
yeah.
When we first met, like you showed us your band, and I was like, this is like feel good music. Like it's not, it's not like where the aggressive punkers are like talking about like, death to the establishments and
Yeah.
all that stuff. Because it's definitely been played out a little bit, but not like. I mean, I'm not a punk kid, so I don't
I
have
think all
too
that
much-
music is fucking great because, like, it's everyone's got to get the fucking anger out, and it's like Rundown Roommates. Sometimes we're like a hippie band. I'm like, how can we make people feel really good, but like drink a fuck ton of beer at the same time?
Yeah, without being like ska almost.
I love ska. Though.
I love
like,
ska,
we
too.
we have a ska song or two. We have at least one ska song.
Well, yeah, you have to. I like.
Yeah.
It's funny. This is bringing me back. So I was 16 years old, and I was in this band called No Soul to Burn. That's
pretty gangster.
It was a culmination of everybody's different influences. Like mine was like at the time like August Burns Red, like Devil Wears Prada, like all that old metalcore kind of thing going on. But then our vocalist was like a Rancid, like he wore like he was a gutter punk.
I fucking love Rancid.
Yeah, he was into Rancid and like all these like the Unseen and like all these.
I'm gonna
different
tell
bands.
you right now that like I question this, but I think your gutter punks might be a little different than ours, because our gutter punks have a fucking venue in the middle of the reservation called the Krusty Palms, where you can go out there and fucking light off fireworks and do all sorts of crazy shit while bands are playing.
Well, see, yeah, like most of Colorado is anything is like everybody's kind of in it for the aesthetics for music, but like this dude, I went to high school. I was in high school with all these dudes. So like our vocalist, he had the mohawk, like the fucking huge ass mohawk. He had the leather jacket with the studs in it,
Of course.
like, and the Spicoli pants, like all that crap. I mean, he was into that all that music. Like he was a true punk, like that we've ever seen, at least, because he didn't care. He just was like, yo, dude, like I don't know. But he would scream, and we all made this death metal band combine. One of the guitarists, because I was the drummer. I didn't like that was the first band I was in, and I'm a guitar player, but I learned how to play drums for this band. I was like, cool. I'm just gonna listen to all these like bands that I listen to that are really good drummers.
Fucking hard.
Oh, dude, it was It was hard. It was hard to be like, oh, cool. Like I'm pretty much like running this as far as like the music goes.
Because we listened, like last night we were hanging out, or the night before, excuse me, and I got to listen to some stuff that you were involved in, and you were
Yeah.
playing guitar in that.
playing guitar,
And
yeah.
that was some good guitar. I've been playing guitar for 13, 14, actually that it's even longer now. But I've been playing guitar for many years, over a decade. Am I the best? Absolutely fucking not. But I've met a lot of really great guitar players. I've met some fucking amazing ass dudes. And just the fact that you picked up that quick and made something like that, that was very
I
impressive.
appreciate that, man.
That was extremely impressive. Oh, that's our pizza.
Pizza.
Yeah. We
But-
ordered pizza, everybody. Go ahead.
But yeah, no, I mean, like, yeah, no, I picked up the drums. It was, I mean, I appreciate that, man. Like, that's
Well, it's really cool to see. Like, how long were you playing for?
drums or
Let's start with guitar.
guitar. So, 27. I started when I was about 13.
Okay, so I started when I'm 20. I'm going to be 29, and I started when I was 11.
Oh man,
Yeah. So like we're not too far off.
I was
Like,
gonna say, I'm
noticed,
pretty
like,
sure
you-
that we're like at the exact same.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, you're not like an untalented person. I know you're cutting yourself short a little bit, but like the
appreciate that.
guitar that I heard, you were, on some of your little demos and things or singles that you were playing with your people.
Yeah.
You know, like you're experienced musician, which is another reason I kind of wanted to have you on, because when you're an experienced musician like that and putting songs out like that and bartending, like you're not just some person in Colorado, you get to know a whole lot of people around you, and that's why I really wanted to have you on. I think a lot of these conversations are important. You know, a lot of musicians right now that listen to this are probably thinking about Black Sheep right now in Colorado, that venue, because things are going to come back.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are going to be looking for stops and doing little mini tours again, because a lot of fucking Arizona bands that are local, they do a lot of tours.
Yeah.
Independent tours, and they do well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm very excited for it. Like I think like a lot of people are it's gonna benefit. I hope everybody is respectful, honestly. Like,
do you have a problem out there with like respect?
No. I'm just saying like I'm saying in general.
Oh, with the pandemic,
with the pandemic and everything, because
absolutely.
it still does like scare me a little bit. Just
you
how
had COVID a few months ago.
I did. I had it for about 2.5 weeks.
What was that like?
It honestly, it was really mild for me, but like anything I've ever dealt with sick wise, like I've never it's never been bad. Like for me, like
why do you think that is? Like, do you think it's like, are
just
you like
because,
active or?
Well, just because I'm definitely not. But I mean, I have been active lately, but I'm not normally an active person. When it comes to being sick, I was sick a lot in my childhood. Like I was there was one point where I had the flu and I had to be out of school for like a good week to
no shit.
Whenever I was
It's
like
a respiratory thing, or is just
no,
like...
it was more of just like I was basically hot. I was like sweating all the time. I was like I couldn't smell. I was like breathing out of my mouth the whole time.
So COVID was like nothing really.
COVID was well. At first it seemed like it was alcohol withdrawals because I didn't drink for a couple of days after really heavily drinking.
Right.
And I just thought, yeah, whatever. Like it's, sometimes when I go on benders,
I'll shake a little bit the next
few days. Yeah. The next few days, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to drink for the next like week or so. So I'm going to wait 3 days. 3 days is usually like, good like point between. So it's like I did that, but then I was like, oh, it's not going away. So I felt like, just absolute, like I had the headache and I was sweating every night and like, it just sucked, but it wasn't as terrible as ever. I never had a temperature over 98.
Okay.
And
so your body just took a fucking beating.
Yeah. Well, my body. Well, and that's the thing too, is that like every time I was like awake and not resting, I was just like, this isn't too bad. I mean, like when I get up and I go do something, I'm a little like winded, but other than that, like it didn't affect my breathing. It really didn't affect a lot of things. But then like I get like all these other stories of people and they're like, man, like it's that bad.
Absolutely.
I would just I definitely count that as like a blessing of sorts. Like bless you.
Sorry.
I said
Sneezes.
blessing, bless you.
Oh, thank you, sir.
But yeah, no, it's definitely like a blessing in some way, shape, or form, because I was like, it's so nice to that I didn't experience the bad about it, because I just feel so bad for all those people now, like
Of course, a friend of mine, and I'll leave him unnamed, but he lost both parents to it.
Yeah.
And it was wild because the man is so productive and managed to keep going, and that takes a lot of balls. And
seriously,
it takes a lot of balls to do what he does. I'll tell you off camera. I got to tell you about him. He's an amazing human being.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's all scary, and sometimes I wonder, like, why are we so scared? Some states are more scared than others, and we're seeing, like, whatever this is creating a huge divide, and I think that's what scares me too.
Yeah.
If we didn't just figure out this last few years of a presidency of how to divide the people more than ever, we just found out another way to do it again, and it scares me. I just you hear people to stay at home, but no one is telling you to be healthy. And it's all the little things that really scare me, because this typically affects a lot of unhealthy people.
Yeah.
And no one says about like how being healthy is important to this. I'm not going to say I'm healthy, but when this started happening, like I asked my girlfriend to get me, vitamins and things like that while they're at the store.
Yeah.
And
I have a stockpile of emergency now. Like just,
Yeah.
For those days that I'm like, oh, I'm feeling a little peckish. Like I need little.
Well, the big one is vitamin D, which like definitely has an effect on the coronavirus, and that's what like blew my mind. Like, stay at home. Like, shouldn't we go outside, because vitamin
I was
D
gonna
is
say, if vitamin D's gonna do it, I think they just didn't want, because it's not airborne. I always thought it was airborne, just because I was kind of terrified of the whole thing in general. Like when they told me that, like, yeah, we're actually, when I walked into my old job, I was working at this brewery. When I walked into the job and I saw that all of the tables and all of the chairs had been moved to one room and the whole restaurant was basically empty, that was when it kind of set for me that it was real. Because like they were like, yeah, we're going to just do to-goes and stuff like that. I'm like, that's okay. This is real. I'm kind of fucking terrified right now.
Mine was extremely abrupt here, because our shit was announced St. Patty's Day weekend, which, you can ask Austin, you can ask anybody that's in this fucking apartment.
Yeah.
That's a big deal for all of us here.
Austin, is it a big deal? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah, I heard. I felt the tone getting a little darker, so I was just like, I need to. Bring
Well,
it
it's
back.
a huge. Flogging Molly comes in place here almost every St. Patty's
For
Day.
St. Patty's. That's so sick, though.
Yeah, and I got to play with one of them here. So
Yeah.
like the year before, or a year or two before, we had never not gone to shows or whatever. So here we are, 2020, and me, my uncle, and one of my buddies and shit like that, we get to go see Jason DeVore, who is the lead singer of Authority Zero, his new band, The Deadlies, which is awesome because it's this Irish punk rock band. I grew up with two my uncles, B and John, which are an episode on this.
Yeah.
Super Irish tattoo artists, and those guys were a huge influence in my life.
Was that John? Was that the one we were about to go see? Like after the night you came over to the Airbnb on your birthday?
I think so. Yeah, like maybe. I don't
almost. You were like, yeah, we're gonna go get tattoos tomorrow.
Oh,
and I was like,
that's
I was
exactly who it
super fucked up.
Yeah,
and I was
that's
like,
that's exactly who it was.
that never happened. I never got a
Well,
tattoo.
we were doing drugs till like fucking 4 a.m.
Yeah. Also, I like to do drugs.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. But
This
anyway,
was the first time I ever did sassafras. First off, it's
Oh,
sassafras.
same.
It feels like
I
you're
was
basically
like-
doing like Ambien.
I was like, "What's this?" Okay.
Like, no, I don't care. I'm just gonna put it on my nose.
Yeah, I trust this guy I just met from Colorado.
I didn't even know what it was. I was
Yeah.
like, all right, Emily was the one.
Yeah.
She brought that.
Shout out Emily.
Shout out
yeah,
Emily.
I'm sure she's
I
gonna
love you.
that one.
Oh, she doesn't. She's sweetheart.
Yeah, she was super sweet.
Yeah.
Anyways, St. Patty's Day is a huge deal here. So I got to go watch the lead singer of Authority Zero. I got to watch his new band literally down the street from here. I'll take. I know you're leaving soon, but like, yeah, I could take you to the bar tonight. It's not very far from here.
Yeah.
And it's a great time.
I'm down.
Like, so we get to see this new band. We're hanging out with Jason DeVore just a little bit. Like, he comes and says hi to me. He's like, dude, this kid see you, played some shows with you. I'm like, I can't believe you even just fucking said that to me. You toured the world. Like,
That's so
he's
cool.
such a nice guy. He's extremely supportive to all the local scene here too. He'll pop in at your fucking show. Nice guy.
I love it because that's like the break between. That's always been my thing, man. Is like if you're in a really good band, like if you're in somebody's like influence, like since they were like a certain age, like too, like if you're younger and you listen to this band and then you see them live and then you hang out with them, that's like the coolest wholesome thing I've ever heard.
Absolutely.
Because it's like you realize it's like there's that separation from the famous stigma that they have, like where they're really well known,
yeah.
and then just to them being an actual human being. And that's where you find like a lot of people where you're like, yeah, this is like, yeah, I got to hang out with this dude. these like you get all these stories and like it's
Well, dude,
good experiences.
He's great. So we go see his brand new band, right? And the pubs out here, it's St. Patty's Day weekend, right? So I go see
Yeah.
the band on a Friday. I'm on crutches too. Fucking fucked up my ankle. Thank you, CJ. Shout out CJ.
Damn you, CJ.
But so I go to this fucking show, and I'm having a great time. And then literally as I go home, I wake up the next morning, I just fucking see my phone blow up with coronavirus shit and like how they're gonna start restrictions. I go to the same place the next day. I'm one of the 3 fucking people there. All the bands canceled. Like vendors, like seemed to. I don't want to say vendors backed out. That's not like really fair for
Yeah.
me to say. But it was pretty much just the bar again instead of blocking off the parking lot. Like the parking lot was still blocked off and whatnot, but like it was empty, and I was like, holy shit.
You know what's crazy too is that like, and this is like something that I just thought about just now that kind of like brought me to a really real area. Is that like how everybody like remembers where they were on 9/11? Everybody's gonna remember when like basically the world shut down. It's
Yeah.
gonna be fucking insane how these kids are gonna be like, yeah, man, it was March, blah blah blah, and my mom told me to stay inside, and I couldn't go to school anymore. Like, because for me, I remember it was on a Tuesday. And it was I had the day off anyway, but they're already telling us like, hey, like, so if the pandemic, if we start shutting down and everything like that, we're gonna put you on unemployment. And I'm like, okay, like that's fine, we can do that. Like, but then like it actually hit, like I was like, and I'll never forget it because I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Dude, and like now that you compare that to like 9/11, which is super crazy, I got a fucking little conspiracy theory in my head.
Ooh.
Now, first of all, I support this military more than fucking anything.
Absolutely.
I have
Same
family in
here.
the military, like my brother's in the military. Shout out to all of them.
Some of my best friends have been or are in the military right
But
now.
just
so.
like World War II, a lot of people joined the military after Pearl Harbor, right?
Yes.
Just like 9/11, a lot of people joined the military after
that.
9/11. Now, after the pandemic, no one had fucking good jobs anymore.
No.
So I like my shout out to Freddie Bedoya, my drummer in Rundown Roommates. He was a fucking school teacher and drumline instructor.
Shit.
And the fucking world shut down. He's like, I'm gonna go fucking into the military, which he's still out on, fucking doing all this training right now.
Really?
Yeah, he's fighting that good fight. I got so much family in the military,
him.
you know that. And
Of course, yeah.
yeah, and I'll always love what defends our fucking country, what defends me,
Yeah.
so I can free speak on my albums, my podcast, everything. I'm a patriot when it comes down to this country. I really do love the people that fight for this country. But like when you say that out loud, I'm like, holy shit, was the pandemic another way to build some crazy army against Russia or China? I don't know. But
I wouldn't
that's
think that. I would just think it would just like building some sort of energy towards people to like, I'm not conspiracy theory talking at all. I'm just thinking like socially.
I totally am.
I think it like, well, yeah.
I am conspiracy talking, and it's
Yeah.
my own.
For me,
like,
I
it
just
has
think-
no facts or backup at all.
Right. Well, and I think like how people directed that, especially with the media, with like commercials and like everything. Of
course.
You're doing the best you can, blah blah blah. And then like I'm like, that's awesome, but like at the same time, like they're trying to build some sort of narrative that people right now either I don't know. I think it's a social thing.
Yeah, no. You're totally not wrong on that because everything we read now, we only read the fucking headline.
Yeah.
Without even reading into it, and we read the most mainstream headline that just comes up.
And then during the whole pandemic too, then you get like all of the George Floyd riots or the protests, and
of course,
you get
all
of
the
that,
all the
of
violence
these-
is advertised way more than it should be.
And it's like I think like a lot of people think it's like suppression, but at the same time, I don't know. Like a lot of us aren't gonna really experience a true retirement. And that's the honest
not
truth.
anymore.
People aren't going to experience a true retirement like we had when we had the shutdown, because we were living off of I was living off of $1,700 every 2 weeks. Like that's a lot of money for somebody who likes to do recreational drugs and alcohol.
Yeah. Dude,
and has nothing else to do.
Dude, I listened to a Joe Rogan episode today, and I can't remember what the name, but he was a politician, and he was like, people that were continued working through the pandemic still got checks, and Joe Rogan, he makes so much money. He was like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah,
I thought that was so funny, and that's what happened. That's for sure. And I don't want to say I'm not a smart person. No one should fucking listen to me ever.
Except for on the Rundown with Silva.
Except for that. But like, I am not any sort of leader or anything. But all you can hope for is that the people that kept working and got these checks somehow managed to make something of it. Like, rather you make I'm only working part-time right now. I need to make my own thing that can work full-time. Yeah. I don't fucking know. You can only hope that money went to good use, but that's being extremely optimistic.
Dude, the first thought I had when like they were all talking about the shutdown, like before they even actually no, it was hours before they were about to pass the whole thing with the shutdown. I literally was like, I posted on Facebook. I was like, hey, so you know what? Like the first thing I did, like I was just like emergency, like fallout brain kind of thing. I was like, you know what? Like since all of us bartenders are going to be out of work, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to start a speakeasy out of my house.
Oh, wow.
I was like, I literally posted, I was like, hey, who wants to do this with me? And then I saw the legal repercussions of that. And I was like, you know what? Like,
never mind.
I was like, fuck, I can't do this. Like, I'm going to put so many people in danger. And also they would have thought it was like me, like trying to like, I don't know. It was just like a lot of like things that were going to be bad with that. Yeah. But I really did. I really was like, okay, so I have like, cause I actually like, I partially own a condo that I live in, like, and so I own it basically. And so I'm like, all right, well, if I can get like a liquor license typed up and I can pay for it, because obviously I'm getting a lot of money right now, I could pay for it because it's a decent amount to get a liquor license. I don't know how much, but I know it's a lot. But if I get one, I can sell alcohol out of my house and get people like, yeah, if I provide entertainment. There's this dude is a really good friend of mine. He was like, yeah, I'll DJ every day. I don't fucking care. Like, I just want to do something like for all these people. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to need servers. I'm going to need bartenders. And it's a two bedroom condo.
Dude, Austin's dumbass felt the same way about my apartment. He's been shooting this podcast for almost fucking like 12 plus weeks now.
Hell yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I'm just saying it is a good idea in theory.
I think creativity is extremely important right now.
Yeah.
We watched comedians get really creative with podcasts. I'm a huge fan of Tom Segura.
Oh, the Your Mom's podcast?
Oh, Your Mom's House? Dude,
I'm a huge fan. I love it.
Have you ever seen any of the pay-per-view ones?
I haven't.
Okay, so you've seen the setup that we have here, that we can just stream something from a computer to a big-ass TV.
Yeah.
First of all, it's only $10 for this 3-hour fucking special. That is the funniest thing I've ever seen, and will make you vomit at the same time.
Yeah.
I could not believe it, and after listening to him talk about it with Joe, like on this last podcast and blah, blah, I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Yeah.
But it was extremely inspiring. It was extremely inspiring to start pushing the means of media. Me and Austin have talked about doing some bigger shows at a recording studio that we know of, where I recorded my music video that we're really good friends with. And doing something bigger, once every few months, where we get to maybe even just put on our own source of like talk TV for fucking free. I'm doing everything for fucking free.
Absolutely.
I've got a Robin Hood theory to my mind of everyone that needs something. It feels really shitty to be alone, and when I have anxiety and shit like that, I fucking listen to podcasts, bro.
This is what I'm saying. Is like, hey, if you're out there and you're watching this podcast right now, I'm just saying, like, I feel the same way because I watch podcasts to get away from my life.
Oh, for
and so
sure.
I hope this has been really nice.
Yeah, and I think these conversations are important, especially right now. You are just I don't want to say like a regular person, because you're involved in so many awesome or have dipped your feet into all these awesome forms of
do like-
art, entertainment.
I do like being a regular guy, though. You know.
Yeah, no, it's fun. Like, everyone here will tell you that we try to push these out weekly because, first of all, I care a lot about anyone that listens to this. You guys all mean a lot to me.
Aw.
But second of all, these mean a lot to me. Like, I don't get to play shows anymore, and I don't get to meet people like you anymore, like every day.
That's
I
the
used
thing.
used to be able to meet people all the fucking time, and that
Yeah.
went away, and that was really, really special to me. A guy who's couch hopped, been in bands, and finally has his own space, and all the really good parts of life just disappeared in the
I
blink
know
of
that
an eye.
like, that original sense of like rock and roll or like anything like in any music in any way, like that whole lifestyle kind of went away because you're like, damn, we all got to stay inside. Like
Yeah.
what the fuck? Like
Dude, I got a memory today on my fucking Facebook that was a Zoom call meeting that someone took a screenshot of, and we were playing fucking Hangman.
oh, that's fire. I love that.
It was pretty cool, and now that I think back on it, I mean, I'm so lucky that I have like a girlfriend and a roommate. Like we have
Yeah.
fun all the fucking time, and I'm still working. I got the luckiest fucking thing that could have ever happened to me. A lot of people didn't get the same role
No.
as I did. And
I was gonna say shout out to Nick because that dude straight up picked me up like 2 days after like the like the shutdown actually happened, like the whole stay at home order. He picked me up in his car and was like, "Hey, you're gonna stay with me. Like, grab literally everything that you want." I was like, "Okay, cool." So I grabbed my clothes. I grabbed some stuff for showers and stuff like that. I
course.
grabbed my fucking PlayStation. And,
Oh, yeah, you know you're gonna be there for
he
a
was
while.
like, he was like, yeah, grab your PlayStation, grab everything, grab all this stuff. And I was like, cool. And we went there, and I went on a 6-day bender with him because
Just-
what else were we gonna do?
what else are you gonna fucking do?
God, yeah, I love drugs. They're great. But anyway, but yeah, we did that, and at one point I was just like, hey, I need to make sure like all my shit is at home is good because I knew that I had food in the fridge. And after that 6 days, I was like, cool, I'm gonna get an Uber back to my home to grab my car so I can come over there and just stay longer. And so I did. I literally went. I watched all of Castlevania. I think I played and replayed Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order like twice. I did the story mode for one, and then I did Jedi Knight the next. That game is amazing, by the way. Jedi Fallen Order. Ooh, yeah. If you like Tomb Raider and you like Dark Souls, perfect combination.
Yes, I've seen a lot of gameplay. I love the game. I think you see my computer set up back here that runs a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, that shit's fire.
And
dude.
like, eventually once I get this on a good enough roll, like I would like to start streaming,
Doing some Twitch and
games.
stuff
Yeah,
like that?
of course. And I just got some of the media back too, because just like the podcast, like I want it to look good.
Yeah.
If anything I do in entertainment, I want it to be appealing. And lucky for me, in my bands, I work with some of the best people. And when I take on some of these projects, well, I'm so lucky I work with an amazing camera guy, and I'm so lucky that I have guys that understand me, like behind the board.
and
back here.
they're all really good looking
Yeah.
dudes too.
Oh yeah, well, not CJ.
CJ, no, you can't. No, CJ's a good looking dude too. I'm all about sticking up for the Kings. Hey, CJ Austin, don't ever lose your crown, okay?
Well,
Appreciate it.
CJ is the guy that like cuts his hair but gets earrings. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. And they look great.
Dude, yeah, they're.
I'm
pretty
about
nice.
that
They're
male
actually pretty
positivity,
sick.
man.
Yeah, and then
females, they stick up for each other, like like they're like this. But like us men, we gotta do the same thing.
well, dude, this man behind the camera is my man Austin back here is getting married here soon.
Good.
Dude.
Congratulations, man.
And his lady's amazing. So I've known his lady. I met him through his lady.
Really?
Yes. And we ended up living together. We ended up doing all of this together.
That's awesome.
He
No.
did a bunch of my first video stuff. He wasn't into cameras at all until his fiance, who I've known since high school.
Yeah.
We got in touch when I was like, we had, grown some distance or whatever, but we were acquaintances, and we became really, really good friends because she heard I was doing music again. We all got connected. We're like, fuck it, let's just fucking hang out. And his fiance was a huge contribution to my first band, my first project ever being fucking anything.
Nice.
That's for sure. And maybe this is TMI, but like she wasn't with the best person at the time, ended up having a falling out, and then she meets this guy back here, and we fucking fell in love. We fell in love.
Yes. Wow, I love that.
We did. He wasn't into cameras or anything. He picked it up from his fiance.
He's like,
and now,
cameras are fucking stupid, and then he's like, oh wait.
Well, now he
I'm
runs.
getting married now. This is
He
sick.
runs all of this. He does everything. He does my music
kidding.
videos. He fucking does anything I want to do on
Love
video. I have to run it by him, or I need him to
That's
really
awesome,
come
though.
do it.
No, and that's the thing too. I didn't really get to know him except for CJ. I got to know CJ a little bit better than him when I was over here the other night.
Yeah.
And first off, I love CJ. He's
I love you too, bud.
Mwah.
No,
You guys look like brothers, for sure.
We could be. It's because our beautiful beards. But yeah,
Yeah,
no, I
that's
never
it.
got to really get to know Austin, but he just seems like a down ass dude, and I love that.
Oh, dude, absolutely, bro. The desk that I have in that,
All about the grind.
dude, the desk that I have in there
Yeah.
for that. I told Austin that morning, I'm like, hey, I'm going to buy wood to go buy a desk.
Yeah.
Justin's picking me up, and he
Nice.
fucking cut it, put it together, painted it.
No way.
He did fucking everything.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like,
That's so cool.
yeah. Like I don't know how I got so blessed with all these fucking people here. I really did.
Honestly, that's kind of how I feel about like Tori and like all of the friend group I have now.
Yeah. So Tori being my cousin, shout out,
Shout out
Moran.
Tori.
I love you.
Also, I'm gonna do a little plug real quick. Tori, she works for this place called Mythology Distillery.
Dude, yes. So we and you got into a little conversation about this, and I didn't want to go too deep on
No
it.
worries.
And like, I even didn't want to go in too deep with my cousin because, you come out here and you try like, hey, what have you got here for local beers and stuff like
Yeah.
that? Now,
I love local shit. That's
Yeah.
just like all it is.
I don't
man.
get a chance to travel that much, so like shit like this is super fucking cool to me.
Yeah.
But there is this liquor company out in Colorado called Mythology, right?
Yep.
Okay, CJ, like let's just get a little slow scroll through this because I want some people to see this
Yeah.
because I've gotten to get shown this, and so they make whiskey, right? Do you know what they?
Is that no? That's not Tori. Oh, I was like, yeah, that's Tori.
Okay, stop on one of these bottles right here. Actually, click on that middle one because the bottles are fucking sick. Yeah, that one right there.
Yeah.
Dude, the bottles are fucking dope. Look at that shit.
I was gonna say, I believe that is either I think that's the Jungle Cat vodka. No, that's the gin. Never mind.
Okay, so
that's
that's
the
the
Needle
gin.
Pig gin is what it's called.
So they make gin. What else do they make? Like they make some.
So they have American whiskey, which is like their transparent whiskey. It's called Hell Bear. They
this
have
what's this one?
that's the bourbon. So that's Best Friend Bourbon. That's
this is the spirit animal.
yeah.
Ooh,
Look at that.
dude, that shit is hard.
Oh, so I think I was at it was Tony, their roommate's birthday party, and that's I took a shot of one of their I think I took a shot of the bourbon.
Dude, that one's
bourbon,
dope.
That's the American whiskey. That's the Hell Bear. That shit is I've tried the Hell Bear and I've tried the bourbon. The bourbon is amazing. I love bourbon though. Like
Okay.
that's my thing.
Okay.
Because I'm a bear. Like I just, but the Best Friend bourbon is like the best. It's
The Best Friend Bourbon.
yeah. I love I haven't tried their gin or their vodka yet, but I recommend.
Where is
'cause
that picture? Holy shit. Oh, that's probably in Colorado.
That's in Steamboat, actually.
Steamboat?
Funny story. I actually lived in Steamboat, and I went to college out there after I graduated high school. I lived there for a year. It was super cold, but yeah. Funny thing about that, though, I was gonna say they actually are going to be, since they're based out in Denver, they are going to be expanding out to Arizona
Dude,
soon.
I
don't know when, but they will.
I'm gonna keep pushing this, but me and my cousin are talking about it because she happens to have started working for these people. But dude, I want them to come down and do a testing. Like, I want to just do a testing here. I'll buy all the fuck bottles. I don't give a fuck. I will
Right.
definitely buy like all 5 or
That's
7.
what I'm saying. Is like, yeah, Tori Moran, you bitch. No, I'm
Yeah,
just kidding.
shut
I'm sorry. That was disrespectful. You asshole. You come down here and let me know when you do, because I'm gonna do another episode with you tasting this whiskey.
Well,
'cause-
damn, if we do some sort of really cool tasting like this, we might have to do it with a band for an album release and do it at the Cosmic. What do you think about that, Austin? That might be a fucking good one right there. Get a
if,
good
if the
tasting.
venue's named Cosmic, I'm already gonna have a good time.
Dude, you got it like Cosmic Soup recording. That's where.
Yeah.
I hate bringing up my own shit,
Nah,
but like
self promote, baby.
hey,
I love it.
CJ, could you bring up the Rundown Roommates music video, because we did this whole music video one shot in the recording studio that has become such of our home. And it used to be like an old AM radio station, and
Yeah.
our homie who has been recording bands in this scene for, I don't know, what was it, like 5 or 6 plus years or something like that. He was my first episode.
Damn.
Yeah, Jeremy Daniels. Shout out Jeremy Daniels and shout out fucking Cosmic Soup Recording.
Yeah.
These guys take care of everybody in our fucking music scene. And our music scene is fucking huge. No offense to, Colorado Springs or anything.
No, it's probably a lot
but
bigger.
Yeah. Hey, restart that real quick, because I want him to see some of this real quick. Restart it from the fucking beginning.
Oh, this is the one you showed me when I came here, when I first met
we
you.
had just shot this. We had
I was
just
like-
finished shooting this.
I literally was like, weird flex, but okay. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
No,
no.
this is a tight ass music video. I love this.
Dude, this recording studio, like, I want to shoot something extremely special here for the fucking podcast. And he has so many rooms available, and we have so much gear available
You
ourselves.
gotta do like an event thing, like where, like an extravaganza where like they have like,
Trust me.
there's like a band that plays, but then like afterwards we play like a game or something like that.
me,
you know?
it's going to be like.
I say that as if I'm a part of it. I'm like, I'm a
Dude,
guest.
no, absolutely. No, first of all, you're a viewer, just like you're saying. You know what I mean? You're a bartender that talks about, talks to a bunch of people about things like this
Yeah.
and thing, But, me and Austin have some fucking ideas of brewing, and Jeremy Daniel is lucky enough to be a part of our lives. Actually, I said that backwards. We're lucky enough that Jeremy Daniels is a fucking part of our lives, because this guy makes a lot of shit happen.
Yeah.
And like the space that he has, he hooks us the fuck up. I can't explain it enough of what this guy does for us.
That's such a natural vibe for you, though. I'm just gonna say that real quick. Like, you're just like, you're about it. I love that.
Well, dude, fucking give it to Austin for fucking shooting all of this. He shot it all in one shot. This is
but
all
you're-
one shot.
I was gonna say, your natural energy is just like doing this kind of stuff. I think it's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That means way
There are
too-
people who like you can definitely tell in like music videos and stuff, like they were directed to do that. You know what I mean? Like they were told to like, oh hey, you should probably like do these little things real quick. Like that's the industry for you, though.
I think this was one thing that I realized, and I really try not to talk about myself too much on these things, but when I started performing, I realized that I got a lot more out of the audience and like the people that I was meeting more than like myself performing. Like I love to perform, but like it wasn't a fame aspect for me. It was more or less like making people happy for at least a few minutes, because that's what music did to me forever.
No, that's just the thing. It's such, your energy is so natural. Just like that's why I'm saying I'm excited for shows to come back for one reason and one reason only, is so I can like, because now I'm like, oh, like, so I don't have to limit my show seeing to one state, one place. So I'm gonna come out here, and if your band's gonna play, I'm gonna come see it.
Well, you always got a place to stay with us, buddy.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Speaking of staying at your place, that the other night was awesome. So Bailey's dog Zeus, cutest dog.
He's the
And,
best. He's the
my
fucking
dogs,
best.
So my parents' dogs were pissed. By the way, they kept sniffing me literally up and down like they were scanning me. I was like, okay, I was with another dog, okay? I confess. I know, yeah, exactly. But like Zeus, okay, so I'm laying on the long part of the couch. I'm just watching Arrested Development, like whatever, and I'm just like, whatever, it's fine. Zeus looks at me like sitting over there, just like, and kind of like gives me like a little nudge, like on my leg, and I was just like, okay. I just scoot over, plops,
plops.
right by me,
And he has to have your ass like close enough to like chest or
Yes.
face.
Yes.
Like he's like, make sure you smell it first while you sleep.
yeah.
Right?
And you know what? I didn't even care.
You can't help it. Like no matter how bad the pink eye is, like you
I
just
don't e-
can't fucking.
No, he was fine. I literally was just like, no, you know what, Zeus? You get more than my space. I will make space for you. That's how I am. If dogs like are like, oh, I want to cuddle with you, I'm like, yeah, I want you to cuddle with me more. Like you are, like dogs are just like they just feed off of. They give you positive energy. Like that's. And I need that like a lot of the
course.
time sometimes, just being naturally who I am, like I've definitely dealt with a lot of depression in my life. And somebody was like, yeah, 4 signs you can tell a man has depression: substance abuse. It was like not sleeping, like all this stuff. And I was
Did you
like,
hear about the 5th reason though?
what's that?
The 5th reason though, because there's 5 reasons.
What's the 5th reason?
Starting a podcast.
Fire. Love that.
Yeah, it is extreme.
Hey, and you know what? Like, that's my thing is that like a lot of people in general, just mental health is just not taken seriously. Especially, it looks good on a commercial where they're like, yeah, we care about your mental health. The pandemic, and then they just do this. They're like,
Well, when you got people dying to fucking like boner pills, like side effects may include death.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Like the Viagra, like
Yeah.
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 Side effects include, swollen penis,
Diarrhea.
ruptured anus.
Like,
you're
it's
gonna
great.
die.
Yeah,
And then they're just all dancing. It's that
so frightening.
I always love that video. CJ, if you could, I don't know what to look it up. But
well,
like,
let me ask you this. Like, so
it's just from the
yeah, because we're about to start
marriage
wrapping
story.
up here in a minute.
Word. Oh yeah, it is time, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're getting there. You know what I mean? We can do whatever the fuck we want. But I just want to ask you, like, as a bartender, you're an amazing person, and I think bartending is like one of the dopest fucking things you could possibly be in. Because if you were my bartender, there's no way I'm not going to be there every other day,
Bro, I'll make you some drinks.
dude. And that's also frightening. But like, do you see what's the future look like? Not like I don't want to talk about the rest of your life, but this is very short term because everything's so weird. Things are
Yeah.
coming out like state to state. Like, would you see yourself like bartending somewhere else for a little bit, or like moving up? Or like, I just have to know because
So right now I don't even have a job, like, or I'm furloughed out of my job. So like, when it comes to that, like, yeah, I mean, I'm willing to if I get a job offer out if in another state, I'll probably go there, just work.
do you have anything tying you down, or like fuck no?
No, just my house. That's the only thing that's kind of really tying me down. But other than that, I mean, for me, it's like I've always kind of wanted to explore the whole nomadic thing, where I just kind of lay my head wherever I want. Like as long as I have a decent amount of like capital to like take me to where I need to go, then after that, it really doesn't matter. I mean, I'm down to travel. I'm down to drive literally cross country if I wanted to. I don't really have too much holding me back as far as like a job right now. I'm still collecting unemployment. So it's like, that's fine. But like when it comes to, if I do start working, like I definitely like want to get my experience a little higher. Cause I was working in a brewery and we were only serving beer. But then I started working at a tapas restaurant, and basically I'm my own server, I'm my own dishwasher, and I'm my own bartender. So it's like I started making cocktails a little bit, just kind of to the recipes of what they needed. And it was good. Like it was like definitely a little bit of experience that I needed to start getting. But now I'm kind of ready to work on something like to get myself good, like an actual really good bartender. Like you see me every day. If somebody asks for like a Negroni or like an old fashioned, I could do that. But also like I need those people that are there though, like, dude, pour me a beer. Like, give me a whiskey
crazy
Coke.
cross in between
Yeah,
of
like,
making the finest cocktails and still getting someone that fucking Coors
Or
Light.
yeah, like I keep wanting to work up from where I have been. So like the next step for me is definitely like being at that point where I'm like, yeah, I can make you a really nice cocktail, or I can pour you a beer, or I can make you a really shitty cocktail. I could pour you a shot. But for me, it's like and you know what's funny is that my grandma's actually a really supportive lady. She's super German, super just like very like high strung, but she always has been very supportive of me behind the bar. Like she's like, you look really natural behind the bar. She's seen me behind the bar a few times. So it's like, she's like, you do have like a natural thing. Like how you have a natural presence in like how I feel like your stage presence is very natural and very like just like wanting to like, you know, have fun and do your thing. That's kind of how they feel about like me with the bar. So it's like I like that a lot, and I definitely want to pursue that a little bit more.
Nice, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything? I mean, I love having you on here because you are just my friend. But is there anything that you would want to be tagged under your name that at least someone could just check out? Anything. It could be anything that you fucking want. It could be a fucking charity. It could be fucking a beer you fucking like. It could be a seltzer you like.
Honestly,
is there anything that you would just want to fucking put in the tag? And if you say fuck no and flip off the camera, we could even do that too. But if there's anything that you want to push, because I feel like you're an amazing individual that has come into my life this last year, and I love fucking talking to you. It's just a super good time. You reminded me of a lot of people that I get to meet out at shows, and like a lot of band members that I get to meet. Is there anything that, you know, you believe in that we could just put a tag on? And if not, you could say no.
Well, first off, I always want to flip off the camera and tell them to fuck off in general. So fuck off. But there is one. It's not really a charity. It's definitely just it's just an organization. I don't know if it's a charity or not. I really haven't looked too much into it, but it's something that
it's worth looking into.
If I needed it, it's there for me. But Colorado Crisis Services, it's if you're in like a really bad place and if something were to, if you were wanting to harm yourself or something in some way, that is a good line to call. That and also the organization BetterHelp. I've been doing therapy sessions with them for the last 8 weeks. Just because depression for me is a very serious thing, because I've been dealing with it for a long time.
Depression, but like
I
love that you're pushing these.
I got you. Absolutely.
I love that.
No, but
do you want to say? I want you to say them again one more time, like both things.
So Colorado Crisis Services and BetterHelp. BetterHelp is one word. It all deals with people with depression, with problems with anything. If they need any sort of type of help, especially the crisis services, there's somebody online that will help you out, because Lord only knows I've needed help so many fucking times, and I have gotten it. And, you know, mental health is a very, very important thing to regard. It's also a very fragile thing. But so far I've been getting my mental health, the improvement that I need, because I just decided one day I do not want to feel like this certain way ever again. But with these services, like with BetterHelp, it definitely is, it's beneficial. There are multiple licensed psychiatrists, psychologists, therapists, and anything like that you need on there. And if you don't match them, and I'm not a sponsor, but like BetterHelp is amazing. But
Yes.
if there's anything you ever need, and if you
recommend it more, it
yeah,
sounds
of
like.
course. And if you don't, if that person, that therapist that you've been assigned is not somebody for you, you can always just choose another one. It's all about you in this sense, and that's why I love that service right there.
And I've heard about this a lot too, and I want to just mention this. I know they're not a sponsor or anything, but this is not a crisis line as well. This is not a crisis help. No. Yeah, I just want to make that sure, but this is a really, really, I've heard it's helped so many fucking people, so shout out to BetterHelp. Rob, thank you so much for coming, buddy. It really means a lot.
So much, man.
And make sure you tell everyone in Colorado I say what's up, right?
I'm gonna tell him Tyler Silva taking over. We in this bitch. We about to be taking over up on this stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Baba Booey.
Well, thank you everyone for checking out this episode of The Rundown with Silva. This is my homie Rob, and my name is Tyler Silva, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye, everybody.
Yeah. The rundown with Silva.